Monday.
Are these Cowboys players a lost cause, or could they finally take off in 2025? Let's talk about it here in Below the Belt on 105.3 The Fan. All right, Chop, so we're going to play a little game here. I was thinking about this yesterday. And you asked Todd Archer earlier how much of the Cowboys potentially elevated themselves. And in 2021, they had a really good draft. They picked Micah Parsons. They got Osa Odigizua, Chauncey Golston, like guys who were contributing immediately for them. And a lot of people felt like that was the reason for their resurgence. Well, it wasn't just that aspect of it. It was also you had guys taking off and leveling up in a way that they hadn't played before. CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs, Tony Pollard stepped up, played really well then. Dalton Schultz had a big-time performance. So you had guys step up and like really break out in a way that we hadn't seen from them before. So in order for this to work, in order for the Cowboys to really elevate themselves up from a 7-win team up to, again, a 11 or 12-win team, they're going to need guys who are going to break out and get out of the shackles of their potential bust label that some people have thrown around for them. So I'm going to name a Cowboys player still on their rookie deal. And we're going to talk about whether that player is already a bust, if it's settled, it's done, or if this is somebody who's finally going to break out and contribute in a meaningful way in 2025 and beyond. So you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's jump into it first. Number 1, Sam Williams, who is entering his 4th season. He lost all of 2024 due to a knee injury. He picked up 4 sacks in each of his first 2 seasons as a rotational rusher. He has still never made a start in his career for the Cowboys, and he's a bit of a knucklehead. But Sam Williams, is that somebody who you're saying second-round pick, his future's already kind of settled, or do you think there's still a potential that he could tap into something and level up this year for Dallas?
Oh, I think there's potential. Now, obviously, what is he post-injury?
Sure.
That's always a question.
There was a lot of excitement about him last year.
Yes, there was. He got hurt. Yes, there was. So, yeah, I'm still excited about Sam.
I think that Sam Williams is one who could potentially tap into it. The only thing that's a little bit interesting to me is you drafted Nealand in the 2nd round last year. You signed Dante Fowler this offseason. You signed Peyton Turner. You drafted Donovan Ezeraku in the 2nd round. Like, we're starting to run out of spots for him to get on the field.
Yeah.
Like, and so it makes me wonder where they look at his evaluation. Next player on this list, Jaylen Tolbert. He was a 3rd-round pick in 2022, barely registered as a factor his first 2 years. He improved last year, but he really didn't show much in the way of being a legitimate number 2 option in the NFL. He finished with 49 receptions, 610 yards, and 7 touchdowns. It did not feel like he scored 7 times last year. He may have been hurt the most by Dak Prescott's injury, as before Dak's injury, he was on pace for 64 catches and 750 yards, but then he averaged just 2 for 28 a game the rest of the way. So Jaylen Tolbert, is he pretty much settled in your mind as a bust, or does he still have some breakout potential?
The year 3, you said?
This is year 4.
Yeah, I think we are where we are with him.
We're settled at this point. It's such a different player than you saw on tape at South Alabama.
I like him. It's just something isn't clicking. I don't know if it's him and Dak together, but something's not clicking.
I don't know that he has the mental makeup to be on that island. Like, to be out by himself up against a corner, mano a mano. I just don't think he's got it. And which is weird because...
Then how did he get to the NFL?
I was going to say at Tennessee, or not at Tennessee, at South Alabama, that was on tape when he would play Tennessee or others. He torched Alontae Taylor at Tennessee one year and just absolutely dog-walked him and would score a touchdown and turn right around and...
I don't even know who that is.
Well, he's an old corner for Tennessee.
Yeah, and I went to school there, and I don't even know who that is.
Exactly. He was a top 50 pick. But Jaylen Tolbert used to, like, talk serious smack on the field as a college player, and then he got to the NFL and it looked like a different makeup, a different player. All right, next on this list... We're doing bust or breakout here. Mazi Smith. Complete and utter failure in 2023 as a rookie. It was better last year, and there were some games that were even really good, but it was wildly inconsistent, and the swings aren't just... I mean, they're aggressive, and they are wide. He's awful and doesn't look like he should be on a football field, to, oh my gosh, he's playing really great dominant football here, and there's not a lot of in between. So Mazi Smith, this will be year 3 here. Are you settling into Mazi's a bust? You got to move on.
Mazi's a bust.
You're settled on that one. Why? Why with him? Because like Tolbert, you seemed like you had a little bit more hesitation on, and he's been playing longer. Why does Mazi click for you so quickly as a bust? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just curious. Is it a mental makeup thing, an approach?
I think it's just I'm not willing to wait around for the position.
It's funny. Vach Lombardi said last week, Tyler Booker had been talking about how much he likes to hit people and stuff like that. And he was saying that he believed him. He said it was a stark contrast to when Mazi told you. Mazi used to tell people like, "Oh, I love playing football because I just like to hurt people." And Foch was like, "Man, you didn't look like that on tape in Michigan. That didn't look like what you love about football. You were just out there like balling guys and playing mean football."
Yeah, like I think that you can there are certain plug and play positions.
Yeah.
Was it closer to the ball?
Sure. So you think defensive tackle you should
be able to impact games
pop earlier,
faster. Wide receiver, I get it. I can understand it. There's a lot to learn about the NFL versus college, but I'm also willing to wait more on a wide receiver. It's just a position that's the replacement cost of finding a wide receiver is just more difficult than a defensive tackle.
Next up here, tight end Luke Schoonmaker. Now Schoonmaker has failed across the board because he was somebody who was supposed to be a dominant blocker immediately.
Yeah.
So Schoonmaker has failed to flash as the blocker that many thought he was at Michigan, and he's failed to develop into the receiving threat many believed he could grow into when Dallas selected him. He is averaging about 1 catch for 10 yards a game over his 2-year career while playing about 1/3 of the offensive snaps during that time. Tight end, to be fair, though, like you mentioned about positions that click right away, tight end has historically not been one. Occasionally you get guys across the NFL that do it, but a lot of tight ends take about 2-3 years to develop.
I'd probably be out. You could find a Luke Schoonmaker.
Do you believe that he has a better chance to develop into who he's going to be than Mazi does, just because of the factor of the position he plays, though?
Maybe, yeah.
Because, when we think back of Martellus Bennett took a long time to click.
Right.
A guy who came through a couple different teams. Scott Chandler took a long time to click. Dalton Schultz didn't really click till year 3 or 4. Anthony Fasano clicked in Miami after he left here. So, yeah, it's a position that doesn't always snap right away.
So I'm pretty. I'm not saying I'm out on him. It's just like I could find another Schoonmaker, but I do think that he has a better chance of.
Is he at the point now? Obviously, as a rookie, you wouldn't do it because he's a second-round pick. But is he 2 years into this now? Is he the type of player, or you think you've seen enough to where if you believe an undrafted free agent is better than him, you'd be comfortable cutting the second-round pick?
Yeah.
Because as a rookie, obviously, it doesn't matter if an undrafted free agent plays better than the second rounder. The second rounder's staying. But heading into year 3, do you feel like I've seen enough?
And I wonder if that's a smart thing to do either way.
Well, because you got to give him a little time to show you who you are.
Right.
So if the second rounder, you got to keep him because you still believe who he is. But after 2 years and then a third training camp, do you just say, well, I think I've got an idea.
At this point,
All right, let's talk about the guys who they drafted last year, who everybody seems to have made up their minds on in a lot of ways. Marshawn Kneeland. Kneeland didn't play poorly overall as a rookie. He flashed a few positive games, particularly as a run defender, but the pass rush tools still look like they're a ways away from being an advantage. He also dealt with injuries, missed 6 games. Is Kneeland a guy that when you look at him, you go, I'm still willing to give him time to develop, or is it just like that pass rush stuff is never going to be there, so that was not worth a second-round pick?
This is what year did you say?
Year 2.
Oh, I'm waiting.
Okay. And
That's too early.
He's got tools. It didn't flash very much last year. Kalen Carson, thought to be a complete steal in the 5th round of last year's draft, and a guy the Cowboys were really high on after training camp. He completely melted down once the regular season began. He was a constant target for opposing offenses, took several bad angles on tackles that led to larger gains. He was on Instagram a lot, posting his rap music.
I don't care.
Is that a guy that you think that, but as a 5th rounder, you're probably willing to more say, I've made up my mind who that is, than you would a second rounder?
I would be, yes, in a faster way, but I still need to give somebody more time.
And this is the one we've been building towards. The one that everybody, it feels like, is willing to call a bust right now. And it runs counter to just how long he's been playing. Tyler Guyton, who played 1 year, went viral for stonewalling Micah Parsons during training camp practices. We were out there at training camp. He was beating Micah. He was locking him up. And then looked completely overwhelmed once the regular season started, looked unprepared, bad technique, had a bunch of unnecessary penalties, a lot of pressure from pass rushers, busted run plays. But the traits appear to be there. The question is whether people believe he can put it all together. But, man, can you think about how fast we flipped from look at him dominate Micah in these training camp practices to now people believe there's no way he'll ever put it together after 1 season, basically. I'm not ready to give up on Tyler Guyton, but I'm curious if you fall down into
too soon.
I know you're generally not a rash reactor. The fan base, it feels like, has. They were reacting so poorly to it, to Tyler Guyton's performance last year, that I saw people arguing against the Tyler Booker pick, and they were pointing to, well, they don't know how to pick offensive linemen anymore. You can tell because they picked Guyton. and Guyton's clearly a bust.
The Cowboys. Look, they remember. I know it's different, right?
By the way, on the YouTube, Tax Tact, why are you asking if a player's in his second year is a bust already? Because people are freaking saying it.
I can't say that's too.
Jump out of the YouTube Tax Tact. I don't give
It's
a
too
damn.
soon. It's too soon for me. Remember Steven Peterman?
Yes, third rounder, 2004.
They got rid of him quick.
Yes,
He goes to Detroit. Has a nice career.
yeah,
Like a really nice career. I can't remember if he was drafted as a guard or a tackle.
guard.
But I knew he played guard for Detroit. But like, you got to give these guys some time. Like second year, that's too early for me to even have. I can't even have that thought after 1 year.
People had that thought about Schoonmaker and Mazi after 1 year, and now they're really sticking to it in year two. Or the second year seemed to show the same thing. A lot of people seem to just think if you pop, you're going to pop right away. But I agree.